right, welcome to Game One, brought to you by MoTV platform MOBoombox. We have another Game One episode with a guest does work in the area. He's a founder of R&R Advisors, the director of operations for DC Assault. If you play ball in the area, you know a little something about DC Assault. My guy Ricky
How you
Goins, how
doing?
you doing, man? Good, good. Thank you for having me. I'm sorry. Thank you for coming on here, man. We appreciate you talking hoops with us and talking about your career and your love for the games and things of that nature. So we're gonna do a few things. We're gonna talk about your journey and what you do, and then we're gonna get into more so our signature segments where we talk about what's just going on in the mainstream basketball world.
Do.
Sound good? Gotcha. All right. So for people that don't know you, man, can you talk about your journey and how you got into like basketball and
Yeah,
everything that
man.
you
So,
do?
I started out playing. Played at high school in the area. It was about my freshman year. They won the state title that year. I was on JV. After that, I transferred to Coolidge High School. I played for 2 years. Played my last year at Wheaton High School under Coach Steve Hood. Played University of Maryland for the Sacramento Kings for a little bit. From there, man, I didn't play in college.
Mm,
I went to the work field, went to school, and then as I moved back into my old neighborhood, which is Greenbelt, I kind of wanted to figure out how I can get back involved with the game. I kind of got over the fact I wasn't playing no more. So I started helping kids with the transfers, helping them find schools. Me and my partners down there started. Everyone Deserves a Shot. It was a program literally meant to help kids get scholarships over the course of about 6 years. We sent about 60 kids to school from the D1 level, the JUCO, whatever the need was.
mm,
I facilitated the transfers of some of the top transfers in the country. This is before NIL, before guys can get paid. Through the mix
mm,
of that, I worked as management for professional athletes, put on events. I put on a 30 by 30 select combine, which over 3 years had about 200 kids and over 100 coaches come. We had Najee Marshall there one year from the Dallas Mavericks. Pickett ended up playing for the Detroit Pistons for a little bit. I started out working at NIL when
mm.
Bruce Shingler, who was a coach in Maryland, but I know for a long time said I should get involved with it. So I originally started team society management. We was kind of helping kids with outside deals. Then I kind of got more involved into the collective side of things. So I helped University of Maryland launch their collective that they use to pay players prior to revenue share. I helped do Jameer Young's deal.
Mm.
I helped broker his deal actually from both sides, from helping him and from the collective. And then about a year ago, then NIL became even bigger. My nephew, was my best friend's son, Yame Butler, needed help navigating his transfer while he was entering the portal, and then two of his teammates also kind of asked for help. So that was Kobe McGee, who ended up going to Florida State, and Cole Hargrove, who ended up going to Providence. So in the course of that 4 week period, myself, my partner Kareem Rush, we negotiated about a $1.5 million in NIL. So we decided to launch our brand from
Mm.
that. Now we're looking to go into more sports, looking to go to football, partner with Josh Morgan. So essentially, man, I'm just in
Mm.
different levels of basketball involved. I left a lot out, but and then Curtis asked me recently
God.
to help him launch his stuff. Curtis Malone, so I jumped in and helped him.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. Cause I noticed Najee Marshall been doing stuff in the area. He had a event last summer. He's running it back again. That went pretty well. Um, so yeah, you pretty much, you just giving your all back for the most part to this game, man. I love to hear that somebody that's about growing the game. Um, you said a lot, but like, what is like a typical day for you when you like working with like more so the younger
Man,
athletes?
typical day started about 6 a.m. I'm responding. I work during the daytime too. I work for DC government during the day, by the way. I'm getting phone calls from college coaches,
Mm,
asking who I got, their thoughts on things. I got players calling me,
mm,
um, asking about,
mm,
can they land somewhere? DC assault coaches reaching out, getting situated from the administrative side. Just all day of networking and making and finding solutions and solving problems. That's a big part of this. The more
Mm,
problems you can solve, you can make happen, the more relevant you stay. So I spend my day
mm,
solving problems with people, whether it's trying to find an opportunity or fix an opportunity they had, or giving them ideas, trying to close deals. That's what my day looks like. To sum down.
mm, mm, mm. So as somebody that's working to like get these opportunities, knocking on some of these kids' door, uh, what's like the difference between, or what separates those who kind of like, I guess, quote unquote, make it and who don't?
So if I
If
had to
that makes sense.
say, there's two sides to this, right? There's one side that people like to talk about, and one side they do. The one side people like to talk about is the main thing for when you want to get paid in this business is you consistency, right? Can you be the same guy every time you
Right.
step on the court? Because that's what coaches look at. Your percentages. Do you turn the ball over? What do you do every night? That's what decides who makes it. There's other part of this people like to talk about. What I do. It's luck, timing. Does the you know
Yeah.
does the, is the appropriate opportunity for you available at the right time? Now you do have to be prepared and ready for it. But for a lot of people, it's just as good. The opportunity don't come. And so my goal is to try to bring those opportunities and align those opportunities with my clients or people I'm advising or mentoring, serving as an agent for. I gotta get the stars to. I gotta twist the stars to align at the right time in the right way.
Mm, mm. Is there any standout athletes you work with that kind of fit in that mode you just
I
described?
mean, there's a lot of guys I've worked with over the years, whether it was Marquise Reed, who's in Turkey right now, or Rodney Pryor, who led the Big East in scoring, Georgetown, Anthony Tark, who was
Mm,
the MEAC Defensive Player of the Year and Player of the Year. There's Isaiah Moore, who everybody knows is Zay now from the one-on-one side. I worked with when he was getting started. Um,
mm,
I have a kid now I'm working with DJ Daniel, who's a D2 kid at Frostburg, who I think is going to be real special when he's transferred up to Division One. I mean, I would
mm,
say all the guys I work with have been talented and been good enough. It's
mm,
just did things happen the way they're supposed to line up for them to get to level A or level B. But all of them, majority of the kids I've worked with have been successful in life, whether through basketball or just finding a job. And our goal is to make sure I'm doing my part to raise up and help as many productive citizens as possible.
mm. So, man, you really do a lot. I'm sure your clients appreciate you, man. But being a part of a legacy team like DC Assault, like what does that mean to you particularly being a part of something like that? 'Cause I know personally growing up when I used to hoop, like DC Assault was like the team of the area. Like you know what I'm saying? They had some names that came through. So what does it mean for you to be able to work with DC Assault at this
So
time?
for me, it's about who I work with, um, and I don't
Mm,
partner or align myself with a lot of people. But Curtis Malone comes off to me,
mm,
and I've known him for a while, but he's one of the most genuine people in this area, in this business. And he created a lot of stuff that you see. So he was trying to get back into it with his
mm,
brand, and he called me. And when a guy like that calls you, you don't tell him no. You find a way to help them and make because you know what they're trying to do means something to move the game forward, move the culture forward, move the community forward. So it was great, man. Being able to work with guys like Chris Wright, the coach of our 17s, Quinn Cook, the general manager, Dennis Marshall, Renard Phillips. Those are all great minds around local basketball, the basketball culture as a whole. Um, so I've learned from
mm.
them. They learned some things from me. And I think, with New Balance aligning with us, I think we got a chance to do something special in the next couple of years.
Oh, for sure. I definitely see the vision. You just dropped some names too. Some very familiar names for me personally. And I hope uh this New Balance partnership works out for y'all. But for people that want to get into what you're doing, what advice would you give them for like where they should start?
So
Because I know everybody's doing a little
for
different,
me,
but
it's networking. And what I mean by networking, not just showing up at events. Like you got to grind out. When I started EDS, I email nothing but D3 coaches and NAI coaches, asking them to stop by my gym to look at players. Two of those D3 and
mm,
NAI guys became Division One head coaches. Dan Engelstead was a D3 guy at Southern Vermont. Ended up becoming the head coach at Mount St. Mary's in Syracuse last year. Pat Curry was a head coach at
mm,
Washington Venice, now the head coach at Grambling State. These are guys that I met, just in the confounds of, hey, come check this kid out. And now they're at the top level of the game. And so those relationships matter. Don't ever feel like any relationship is not worth it. Because you never know in this business who's going to go from video coordinator to D1 head coach. So those are the relationships you need so that you have credibility when you're trying to help people. So networking is the most important thing. And then you got to outwork people and you got to sell yourself. You can't sit back and wait for things to happen. You got to make this thing happen. You got to find your niche. What do you do better or different than everybody else in your space? And so I try to differentiate myself as much as possible.
mm. I like that. I appreciate that advice. I think that's something you could, apply to anything in life in general if you're trying to get far in what you're doing. So thank you for that. So let's get more into like this NIL, the NIL in the modern era pretty much because I remember growing up how paying like college athletes or amateur athletes was like this big conversation and now it's not a conversation, it's a reality. What's your honest take on the NIL and do you think it motivates athletes or it can be like a distraction too?
I think it all depends on the athlete. I think athletes are getting what they
Mm,
deserve. They generate these billions of dollars for the NCAA, for these corporations, for these businesses. They have a strong economic impact. So they're getting
mm,
their share of what they earn. I don't know another industry where you get to generate a profit for a business and don't get to share in that profit. So players are getting what they earn. There's
right.
guys that's going to get back pay from years ago. I think though when we talk about
Mm,
charting forward, we have to understand that this is the norm. That kids are going to continue to get
mm,
paid for their service. If anything, they're going to continue to get paid more. We have to push towards collective bargaining. We have to put towards employment status so that we can have real regulations and reform so that it can be a little more organized. Right now, the NCAA has pretty much said, hey, we're going to do this how we want to do them. And you can sue us. We'll take our
mm,
chances in court. But a lot of the parameters the NCAA have put in place have been illegal for a very long time because they violate antitrust laws. You cannot just decide you're not going to give
mm,
somebody their just due. You cannot just decide you're going to create regulations that fit your needs. You cannot just make people amateurs because you want them to be amateurs. So as we go forward, if the NCAA
right.
realizes what the state of play is, we'll see a more organized form of, collective bargaining where there is a salary cap, where there is an age cap or things like that. But unless you acknowledge that these guys, these kids are employees, we're going to continue to be
Mm.
the Wild Wild West, as people like to call it.
Okay. You kind of answered my next question about should there be more structure or boundaries around like the NIL? But like do you think this NIL thing is kind of affecting like or it can affect NCAA eligibility as far as like the transfer
Well,
portal and teams
none of
trying
that
to go
stuff
ahead.
is legal, though. And see, that's where we get where we are
Uh,
when you can't just say, because in the context of this, right, this is about making money. It's about the value of the player, whether it's pay for play or whether it's name, image, and likeness. A corporation cannot just decide you're not going to be able to get your market value without you having some input
mm,
in that decision, which is where you get collective bargaining. So,
mm,
like, to it's hard to really speak further until there's an acknowledgement of what's going on. Coaches want the
right.
ability to retain players that they want with little uh, pushback, but get rid of players they don't want
Mm,
with no pushback. That's not how it works. There's give and take on both sides. So,
mm,
whether it's a distraction, whether it's unorganized, players have to have some input on what the structure will look like. It's not just going to be top down. And I think that's when you'll see
Mm,
more of this shaping into what this is going to be.
mm. Okay, I see what you're saying. Only thing I want is only thing I'm like curious about is how, because it's not like in the pros, right? Like in the pros, they have their own like unions kind of, so they can like, you know, on the league or on the player other players' behalf, you have other players kind of making their case in these like collective bargaining agreements. But since it's college, the kids or the young athletes, it's not quite the same. So I wonder like how does the kid find representation? I want to assume that's kind of like where you come in, where where people like you know what I'm saying? What's your take on that as far as like how we can like make sure the young athletes are not taken advantage of, but still, getting like what they deserve and what they earn, while still like, you know what I'm
Well,
saying, the game is still growing and
well,
developing and
people
things
have
like
to vet their support system and their representation. You have to vet and see what is the history, what have they
that.
done, do they know what they're talking about, are they just in it to make a commission, or are they teaching you as you go along? I'm not one person to say everybody
Hmm.
needs an agent. I'm not the person to say you don't need one. I'm more so saying take a look at your situation. Um, does your
Hmm.
level of expertise or knowledge meet the moment for what you need in your representation? If you have 20 schools coming at you offering you money, do you know how to handle that? If you need a market created for
Hmm.
you, is it somebody that can do that? It depends on your need. Every kid is different based off of their performance, based off of the things they don't control, like their size. Um, so you have to determine
Hmm.
what advice you need. But just understand and keep in mind you don't know everything. And everybody's not going to have your best interest at heart. I think it's interesting people say taking advantage of, because there's also a situation where players like to take
Hmm.
advantage of the situation. They want to have three or four people representing them,
Yeah.
so they can decide who they want to pay or not pay. Taking advantage of is a matter of relativity, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's more so, do you understand the landscape? Do you understand your reality? And are you working with a person that's realistic with you and can give you and inform you and teach you and educate you? Or are you just working with somebody that's just trying to rip you off? If somebody comes to you and say, hey, I'm going to do this for 20%, right there is a red flag, because no agent should be getting 20% from a revenue share deal, no matter what's
Hmm.
going on. But if you don't know any better, you may pay that. If you feel like this agency has its reputation, you may pay that. So it becomes a matter of, do your own research in certain ways. It compare it to what the market is saying, compare it to who's recruiting you is saying, and then you can kind of go
Hmm. I appreciate the information you given based on your experience. Um, that being said, like, what inspired you to start R&R
It was
Advisors?
really my nephew, my
Is there
my
anything
my
specific?
best friend's son, knowing he needed
Okay.
guidance and seeing. I mean, I had schools calling me from all over for him or his teammates, um, and I
Uh-huh.
just wanted to put a brand behind it. I learned from my EDS days when I started at one of the shot. I was trying to be on low key, under the radar. I didn't want to be known as one of these guys that's a vulture or just trying to take advantage of kids, or from quote unquote what that means. If there's a brand behind you, if there's like a
Right.
solid people behind you, like a Kareem Rush to play for the Lakers or Josh Morgan to play for the Redskins, like we can have real life conversations with you about this.
Hmm.
And branding is important. Within the first 2 weeks of us having our company, the Philadelphia Inquirer did a whole write up on us. That's the kind of legitimate things you want if you're going to say you're an agent or advisor in the space.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that, Ricky. We're gonna transition to like the next part of our game one show where we actually talk about what's going on in the mainstream world. I haven't got a chance, unfortunately, to watch a lot of college basketball because I've been real busy with life. But like, is there any players or teams? Because I know March Madness going on. I had the Miami Ohio game earlier. That's a team I've been like watching closely. Is there any college teams or players that you've been having your eye on
Man, I
in
love
this
Darren
tournament?
Peterson. He got eliminated last week. I
Yeah, I
think AJ
know.
is special. He got eliminated. I think A Cup is a special
Hmm.
individual. But it's March, man. Some guy we never thought about is gonna have a big game this weekend and send his team to the Final Four. So, I don't think you're missing a lot. I think the good thing about March Madness is you're normally going to find some players you haven't seen and fall in love with
Hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna try and get into watching it now that I got more free time. Because yeah, I was kind of disappointed in Kansas and Daryl Pearson, but we'll see, man. Because this is supposed to be a deep draft. This for the NBA. Is there any? Do you have any predictions? Like I hear the Boozer twins might want to.
them. I
You
mean,
know what I'm
I
saying?
think I
Like,
think
but I
I
think
think
AJ
Duke. You
got.
talking about number one pick? I think
Yeah,
Darren Peterson should be the number one pick, but it depends on who gets it, right? They're saying between
really?
like the
Okay.
Pacers, who already
Uh-huh.
has a star like a Cam Boozer would make sense. Um, you get like the Wizards, they
Right.
got a decision to make. Do you go to AJ or do you go to A Cup at some point? I think it's all situational in terms
Mm-hmm.
of who. If you're the Sacramento Kings, you need any of it. So it's all it's situation. It's situational
Facts.
right now with the number one pick. I can't wait to see how it all plays out.
Not saying. It might be a pipe dream, but I'm hoping if we get like a outside the lottery, because I'm a Miami Heat fan. It's like I was so proud with Trevor Kills, by the way. Shout out to him for getting that 2-way contract and getting that last roster spot. I got to talk to him last summer, so. But I just want to throw that out there. I hope somehow we get
Yeah, I
DP,
love it. Yeah. Oh, down Miami.
but I know that's a pipe
Nah,
dream.
you guys good. You guys get free agents.
Yeah,
No, us Wizards fans, we need to draft. Y'all get free agents.
yeah, which is kind of my other team too. So I'm hoping that they get. I'm hoping they get AJ, but who knows? But by the way, while we talking about Wizards and Heat, what's your personal opinion about Bam's 83? Because there's been a lot of conversation and mixed conversation. Because as a Heat fan, if somebody that supports the Wizards and actually watched the game, I loved it. But I feel like unless you are a Wizards fan, I don't see the point in like why people was hating
People,
on him because
people
83
just
points
hate
is
on
83 points.
hate on just to hate because of the online culture. I mean, the funny part is I was talking to a lot of older guys about it. They're like, man, then I'm like, well, go read and research how Wilt got his 100. Towards the end of the game, Philly started fouling the other
Hmm.
team on purpose so he
Hmm.
could score his 100. So that's what happened. Another part, the interesting part about Wilt is Wilt was a career 50% free throw shooter. But for some reason on that night, the stat sheet, so he shot like 80% from the free throw line. So, a lot of things, I think Bam shot 43 free throws. Wilt shot like 36 when he got 100. So again, you know, it,
Hmm.
he didn't hit 7 threes though like that. I mean, it's basketball. Records are meant to be broken. It was broken. Somebody else might score 100. We
Hmm.
never
Yeah, I hope so. I would love to see that in real time, man. Appreciate that. So our next segment, because we just kind of talked about hot topics. Our next segment is it's called Lifetime Matchups. And basically what I do is I give you two
know.
random players. It can be players from this era, player from the past, who you think will win in a one-on-one. But I might switch it up a little bit because I did kind of want to talk about one specific matchup. But after the game 2 days ago, I pretty much think who you might say because I kind of switched up too. But for our first lifetime matchup, for a one-on-one, who you think will win between Vince Carter and Jalen Brown?
In a one-on-one, it's weird. Environment, refereeing matters.
Mm,
I can see some scenarios in which,
hmm.
Jalen Brown wins. He's a scorer. He's physical. He plays good defense. But I see a situation where in a one-on-one setting, he
Hmm.
can do nothing with Vince Carter. But I think the way
Hmm.
one-on-one is kind of played right now kind of favors the Jalen Brown type.
Okay, I can see that. I lean more towards Vince Carter because I think he was a better like shooter, and you add the athleticism to that. But Jalen Brown's pretty athletic too, but he's not Vince Carter athletic. But I respect that because I feel like Jalen Brown doesn't get a lot of
Well, if you watch
credit.
one-on-one basketball now I'm not if this is like a cleaner version of it. I mean, I think I'll go with Vince too. But if you look at the one-on-one culture right now, where it's more grinded out, fight for every bucket, we
Yeah.
hacking. I think that favors
Uh-huh.
Jalen.
Okay, I can see that then. it's either way. I was thinking more so just but because one on one is a thing. 'Cause I covered a
Mm,
few events and like yeah, they do play more
yeah,
physical. The refs do let them get away
yeah.
with a bit more. So I hear you there. Okay, so my next one is Asia Wilson versus Candace Parker.
It's another one, man. I kind of favor Asia. I just think she got more in the bag. I think
Okay.
again, it's tough because it's really two different eras. I think Asia might be
Hmm.
one of the best to ever do it. And so was Candace, but I think I like Asia in that match.
Yeah, I think Asia, she's a bit more dominant. You know what I'm saying? Because she's more of a post player. Don't She's really skilled though. Like that midi is there, but like you said, she is just seeing how dominant she's been. Because I think she has the league average for like
Mm-hmm.
highest point per game average. So it's like the bucket she's gonna get there. But like Candace, she walked. So a lot of these women hoopers can run. So I kind of wanted to give her respect in that because a lot of people have her as the GOAT. But I'm with you with the Asia. One last matchup. In fact, I think I ain't gonna say it's a wash, but I think I'm gonna just let you answer first. Maya Moore versus Diana Taurasi.
Maya Moore, man, she might
Yeah,
be she
okay.
might be the best to ever lace them up.
Yeah, people don't know how good she was, man. I'm with you on that. All right, so the last one, it's not really a one on one. It's more so of a conversation. I feel like it's kind of getting under talked about. Because in the NBA, you hear a lot of the MVP talk. I'm sorry, the MVP talk because of I think Shea, Cade just went down the other day. Early in the season, like Jokic is missing games, so it's like no clear MVP right now. But I think the Defensive Player of the Year award really has two candidates. It's between Wemby and Bam for me personally, because I feel like they both kind of anchor defenses differently. With Bam, he switches 1 through 5 and lets those wings and guards kind of like play the passing lanes and things like that. And then you got Wemby, who's just this nuclear rim protector that allows his teammates to kind of guard up better. So it's like it's two different dynamics, but it's two examples of like how the modern day big anchors defenses today. So like, who do you think should like be the defensive player of the year, or do you have
Um,
another
you
defender
know,
you think should be in the conversation?
I don't. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't watch a lot of NBA, but I do follow enough. And I think like
Right.
part of my issue with the NBA right now, it's not my issue, but you talk about regular season awards. Um, half the league is tanking.
Hmm.
So with half the league tanking,
Yeah.
it's like how many of those matchups guys really like? Wemby's trying to win a championship. Shea obviously is trying to repeat. So um, I think you mentioned Bam, Miami. You guys are playoff bound outside the playoff standings.
Yeah.
So
Just
like
bubbling to
you
play
know,
in. Yeah.
it's a different energy you're bringing. Whereas what if all 32 teams was fighting to get to win? Then you might could really see who's playing defense and things.
Hmm.
I think man, Wemby is so like this is why I think he should be the defensive player of the year for probably a while. He changes not just the game for the bigs,
Right.
he changes the decisions that guards make because he can stay with guards. To me, like that's the
Hmm.
defensive player of the year because not only is he guarding his position, like a guard can beat him by a step and he still gets there. Bam Bam isn't doing that.
Right.
You know what I'm
That's
saying? Like
misunderstood.
I think Wemby is going to be the best defensive player in the
Hmm.
league for a long time. But I preface that by saying with only 50% with 50% of the league tanking, and then really if you go to the West, that's probably where most of the bump is right now. I think that's going to change soon. Um, like
Hmm.
he's not in a lot of situations where his defense, like think about it, from now till May or playoff start, how much does his defense really matter? You got to look at the schedule, right? Like I'm sure a lump of their games against teams that don't care. So it's just an interesting dynamic for me.
Hmm.
I think we really want whether you're most valuable player of the league, defensive MVP, six man. When 50% of the league is tanking, I don't know how valuable
Hmm.
those awards
You know what? I think that's valid because one thing I will say, at least my personal frustration with how they've been like uh vote the voters are with these awards for like the past couple of years, it's like they change the criteria up every year. So like that adds another layer to like assessing like who is really like deserving of these awards. But the tanking thing is a real thing though, because it's like you play in teams like who's them tanking teams like Memphis, Wizards, Jazz. Like you play these teams, and I remember one time earlier in the season actually the Jazz sat like they
Yeah,
whole starters the
and
whole fourth
it's
quarter.
it's only going to get
So it's
worse as
like,
time goes on. Like it's not the competition not going to get better. It's going to get worse over the next couple of weeks
mm, mm,
because it's not just teams
yeah,
that's tanking to tank. What you used to find was guys that was fighting for the last playoff spot. Now teams like, well, if I can't compete with OKC, I don't even got a reason to fight for the last playoff spot. It used to be a thing, man. You can
right,
sneak in the playoffs with the AFC. People don't play like that no more. It's like if I don't feel like I'm competing for the actual title, it doesn't matter if I make the playoffs or not. You look at Indiana, finals bound, star go down, they don't even try. You know,
yeah. Well, that's the state of the league, but I'm glad the playoffs still get up. Um, so for our next segment, it's called DMV Spotlight, where we basically shout out an athlete from the area or somebody that's just, it can be a coach, anybody that's just involved in the area that's doing great things. I want to personally shout out Trevor Kill. I think I gave him another shout out, but like I'm just so proud of him right now. So shout out Trevor Kills, man. Uh, Kid from Duke, kid from PG. He was able to get that last spot on my favorite team. So shout out to him. Is there any other player
yeah,
or
man. I'm gonna shout
person
out
that's in
my
the area
guy,
that's doing
man.
something you
My
want to give
guy
a full shout
Lonnie
out to?
Lyons. He's at Clint Grace, man. I
Okay.
remember him being seventh, eighth grade. And I told his dad, I said he's gonna be the best guard in the state by the time he's in high school. I told his dad this. I used to go pick him up because I used to coach against him when I was in Atlanta. He was at Clint Grace, and I couldn't win my championship until he went to high school. We
Mm,
won our championship. I think his Gatorade Player of the Year is huge. He's going to be a big time player as he continues to develop. He doesn't say much. He talks a lot more line than he do in person, but
mm.
man, he's one of my favorite players I've watched since I've done this. And his brother CJ is more older than me and is really good too. And I just can't wait to see how the rest of his career plays out.
Mm. That's what's up, man. So I think that's all I got for you, man. We talked about NIL. We talked about hoops is going on. You shared your journey. I really appreciate you coming on game one. I'm sure our game winners is going to enjoy and follow your journey and how you're doing things in the DMV area, man. Uh, is there anything else you want to share with us, or like you want to shout out like where
Man,
people can follow you
I
from,
do. I did put
or
my book
whatever?
out last year called For My City. Uh,
Oh, you did put a book out.
the
That's
My
right. I
Life
did
as a
see that.
Basketball Influencer, where I talk about a lot of how I got where I got, and most importantly, why I do what I do. You can go to
Mm,
foreverdocumented.com and purchase that book, and I
mm.
may start working on the second one pretty soon.
Okay, yeah. I'm gonna make sure I copy your book, man. I'm gonna read that joint too,
Appreciate
for
that.
real. Cause I like seeing that for real. I'm gonna get you a book, man. Hopefully I can get you. It's signed, right?
Yeah,
I think you
when
sell them signed.
I mail them off, I sign everybody's book. Yeah.
Okay, got you. I'm gonna let you know when I buy one, so you can sign one
Appreciate
for
that.
me. Appreciate that, man. Well, that's game one, y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in with our guest Ricky. Y'all have a
Appreciate
good
you, man.
one. All right, so that's